fully blank.
That happens. I got a Kiehl's head.
Oh.
I don't see golf ads. First time I'm seeing this.
Cool. Wow. So we'll talk about something interesting today. I think this has been like a hot topic internally as well for years and years. Are social platforms or digital platforms, are they like listening to us? You know, we've heard a lot of stories. If you go on Reddit, there are stories of, you know, people talking about something and then the next minute they get an ad. So these kind of things are there. So I think the idea today is to have a chat about it, what we think about it, and see how it goes. Have you guys had any situations or scenarios
That's
like
an
that?
interesting question. Actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I think personally I have had. I can't really pinpoint or remember a specific thing, but then I definitely have come across something where I just talk about it with friends, a particular brand, and then the next minute I go on Instagram, I get like a sponsored content ad from that brand.
Yeah. You know, you remember this time, I think it was last year, we were all talking about office chairs.
Okay.
And then that week itself, we got some ads from about office chairs. Do you remember this?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
And then
yeah.
we bought from that place actually.
What we can do today, if time permits, we can maybe talk about some random topic.
Yeah, and test it out.
Just test it out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What can we talk about? Like we need to put that keyword out. That's what people on Reddit have done, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Office chairs, maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe something else.
Mm,
And something that is not generic, maybe. Like, not like holidays or stuff like that. But maybe.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a rain season. So you talk about umbrellas.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, another suggestion, since it's December, you know, everyone's looking to go on holidays, trips.
Yeah.
So you look at like places where you can book your stay. So maybe
Cool.
we can check.
Shall we be specific about where
Yeah.
we want to go?
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Like maybe, okay, I'm going to keep my phone somewhere close by.
Me too.
And the computer's on anyway. So we can maybe talk about a specific destination.
What's interesting? Where do you want to go?
So since it's Sri Lanka, maybe Yala.
Okay.
Yala?
Okay, we talk about Yala.
Yeah.
So people who don't know what Yala is this amazing. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yala is this amazing. What do you call it? Not a
Safari
forest per se, but
destination.
we've got safari. We've
Yeah.
got it's a national park.
Yeah.
So keywords popping out: national park, Yala, and
To
Uh,
see
leopards.
leopards.
Leopards. Leopards.
A main attraction there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Let's feed it in.
and it's not like too far away, you know.
Yeah.
So we are promoting Sri Lanka tourism also.
That's right.
Yeah, doing a favor. Cool. But so whilst talking about Yala and the leopards and everything else, from a marketing perspective, I think this topic is like debated upon, and there are like conspiracy theories. For example, there was this very famous photo of Mark Zuckerberg covering his camera during some session.
Okay.
And also, I mean, I'm not just talking about the voice side of things. You know, like he had covered the speakers, the camera, everything, and this went viral. You know, if Mark is, you know, covering things, you know, does that mean Facebook actually tracks you?
Yeah.
You know, or are they listening to you? Tracking, we know. They do.
Yeah.
There's a lot more data points about that. What are your thoughts on this whole piece? Good, bad, ugly, you know, any thoughts?
Well, I think, I mean, there's both sides to it. I mean, you know, back then we used to be like, shh, don't talk, walls have ears.
Yeah.
But then actually walls do have ears because now the phones are always with us. And I think ever since smartphones introduced voice assistants like Siri, Google, I think that's where we unknowingly maybe actually accepted that they can listen to us. Because they're always listening to our keywords, right? They're always like waiting for wake up words and all of that. Yeah, I feel like even right now, obviously, they're listening to us because if not, how will they know? For example, I'm like, hey Siri. How will they know it's Hey Siri? They're always listening, right? What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think so too, because like I think most of these companies do try to deny the fact that they are actually listening to us. But I think they're trying to deny because if they do really listen to us, it's a massive data protection violation. But like to your point, yeah, I mean, cell phones, smartphones nowadays, like the new generation, it's like an integral part of your day-to-day lifestyle, right? So it's like always with you, and they're always listening to
Are you
you.
okay with it, or are you not okay with it?
That's a well. To be honest, Sir, what do you think?
No, I have a few opinions, of course. So one of the things is I'd like to get customized information,
Actually,
personalized
yeah.
information. I'm okay with that. I don't have anything to hide. If you look at the way I think the whole privacy side of things have evolved, everybody's so concerned about their data, where it's hosted. People are very aware also, I feel. But on the flip side now, remember a few years ago when we were doing our maybe SEM campaigns, one of the things that we used to always say is people are not clicking much on paid ads. The moment you go on a Google search and then you see the organic results, you're like, okay, that's more trustworthy. But now that's changed. Now everything looks like an ad anyway, right? Ads are blended in, you're used to it. I think people don't have time. As long as something is customized and it's there, if the experience or the UX is okay, I think they just go for it. So I'm applying the same theory into this. Again, the bad thing, I mean, if you think of a non-digital situation like this, say a friend of yours is seated here, listening to your conversation, and then the person goes back and talks about you to somebody else, you don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? So in a very crude sense, that's what's happening. Right? They are, I mean, apparently happening. We don't know. But, without your permission, they'll listen to you, and even though it's customized, they are going and selling that to somebody else. That's where the issue is.
Yeah.
I think if they were upfront about it, it's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually what Rachita said a while back. Not sure who it was, but then they released official statement in 2019 claiming that the microphone contractors, or it can be iPhone or Google, those contractors actually they get a lot of information. They get to listen to a lot of data, voice data, than they bargain for. And then actually, because to what Sal said, it really there's a fine line, right? I mean, we have so much things to do, and our time spent on social media is also decreasing, and we want relevant information to come in our feed, right? And for me, I really don't mind what I've been speaking of being used in a good way if it makes more sense for my feed. Yeah, so for me, to what you asked, Sal, I don't mind.
Okay. So there was an interesting chat that happened. So TikTok, the CEO was brought to a Senate hearing, similar to what Mark Zuckerberg had to go through. So what he said was quite interesting. So I think his point of view is it's mathematical. How we track you and how we customize things for you. So one thing he says is, so TikTok has this theory, which is basically part of the algorithm. So say the three of us are there. I look at, I'm just going to name a piece of content with a number. So I say 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So I look at 1, 2, 3. You look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The common denominator for us is 1, 2, 3. Right? And obviously there's tons of other data like proximity data where they know where you are, your location is tracked to like such a minute extent, right? Not just the longitude and latitude, but also altitude also. And like proximity is like something they anyway know. I mean, we use that for Facebook campaigns also, right? For geofencing and all. But so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The likelihood of us seeing 6 because she is connected to us is high.
Right.
So that's their theory. So so that's the way they connect us, and also of course now we are here for a long time, so we are not just passers by, right? So we are there, they know that we've been talking, and our search behavior, our off channel behavior, that also is tracked, I don't know how it will pan out with the whole cookie ban, because most of this is, I think, done through the third-party cookies now. But there might be other ways that they'll be looking at. So it's interesting what the TikTok guy said. So I'm pretty sure that's the same way that everybody else looks at things also.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think like what's interesting is that most of these social media apps, like they give the option to the subject, that's us, to adjust our privacy settings where you can't like let them track our data. But surprisingly, TikTok does not allow that option in the EU and the US. The users don't have control of like adjusting their privacy settings.
Really?
I see.
Yes. But all the other platforms, they have that option.
But I thought that's a key thing when it comes to GDPR and stuff. You need to have a place to record your data, and if a user comes and says, hey, how did you get my data? You need to have this preference center, and you need to release that information. So, don't know where your source
Yeah.
is.
No, it was like based on a conversation, like a podcast that I was
Okay.
watching, that a person
Wow,
who
another
mentioned
podcast.
this. Yeah, because that podcast was mainly about like teaching users how they can take action in terms of
Right.
like what they can control in terms of like privacy.
Maybe it's not too obvious.
Yeah.
But it must be there. Maybe the podcast
Maybe
is a bit dated. I'm just thinking out loud, because I don't think they'll be allowed to operate if there is no option for them to
I
change
feel
their
this might
privacy.
be one of the main reasons that CEO was called.
No, there's a lot more, I
Okay.
think, behind it. Of course, there is mass scale adoption in the US,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Last time I looked at it, I think more than half of the US are on TikTok.
Right.
So they are worried where this data is going to. And on the flip side, US also has, interesting ways of requesting for data. Like they have the Patriots Act. They can actually, if I'm not mistaken, if you're a US company, say Microsoft, if you're operating in India,
Yeah.
they can actually request for that data through the Patriots Act, and they can look at it. So anyway, that's a different topic
Yeah.
altogether.
So actually, let's pull us all to a Sri Lankan context. I mean, so I haven't seen this mainly on TikTok because I guess TikTok ads are not still active in Sri Lanka, but a lot of relevant ads being shown to me. I've seen this a lot on Instagram, maybe because I use Instagram a lot. What about you, Rachita? What do you feel about what we discussed?
Yeah, I think even on Instagram, Facebook, like I said before, like content is always like feeding us and the relevant content.
You don't mind?
I actually don't mind. I think as long as it's not something, I mean, like as long as we do get that personalized content, like let's say for me, for example, like if I'm looking for like a fashion brand, if I'm enthusiast, and if I'm always getting those update and sponsor content, I would like, because I'll automatically be updated rather than manually going to that page and checking for the latest trends, right? But I think the worry is what's actually happening behind the scenes, like where this data is being sold to and who actually has access to this data.
I guess that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
No, my question is, why are we worried? Do we need to be worried? Like, okay, so they've been selling data for like donkey's years, right?
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah. Only, I think, sorry, I'm just kind of challenging myself. The only thing is, when it comes to online security, like you said, so we have voice assistants like Siri and Alexa and stuff like that. And there are databases where our voice is stored, of course. And when it comes to, I think, authentication, say for example, your phone, now you have your fingerprint and maybe the face print, right? In the future, or even now, I think you can use your voice as well. So with deep fakes coming in, especially with the boom of AI, your voice can be cloned. So in that sense, there is a little bit of a security threat, I feel, when it comes to listening. But again, so what's interesting is, so whenever something like this pops out, I straight away go to some of the US patents that's been filed, right? So that's always future looking, right? So one of the things I looked at was, so Meta has filed for a patent this year. I'm going to read it out because it's a long ass thing. The new patent is called user identification with voice prints on online social networks. So I'll read what they say,
Mhm.
right? So they are saying, quote unquote, a client system associated with the social networking system may detect one or more people speaking, and the people speaking may be identified as users based on comparison of their voices to voice prints stored by the social networking system. So there's a lot more. Upon identifying one or more of these people as users of the social networking system, the social networking system may provide customized content to the identified users based on their social networking information. So there's a lot more.
Okay.
So in simple, what they're saying is when using this new process, or if this patent is approved, Facebook can basically listen to us. But they're calling this a voice ID, right? So, or a voice print. If it finds a match, similar to how it looks at our data, if there's a voice print match, then they can start customizing stuff for you. So I don't know whether this is a preventative patent or a futuristic one. Whether they are already doing this and they want to cover themselves, or whether they are, whether it's a future looking thing, I don't know. So Meta just launched something with Ray-Ban. Did you see that?
Yes.
The new glasses, the smart
Yeah.
glasses. So I think Meta's metaverse story has taken a little bit of a backseat right now. They seem to be heading into, of course, AI and stuff, but then into wearables and tech. So I think they launched the first one about a year or 2 years ago, but they now have a better offering. They launched in May, and that's got the whole voice printing. It's like a little assistant. It responds to things. You can say, hey, take a picture or whatever, it takes a picture. So it's already there and it's coming up. So that's also interesting when it comes to wearable and tech and IoT devices, how they're going to bring this in. So there are multiple use cases, I think. So another thing I saw, again, I might have to read this, there's a lot. Say Facebook is tracking you, your voice and whatever you talk. So in order to make this happen, Facebook would need to record everything your phone hears while it's on, right? Of course, when it's switched on, you can't. Switched off, you can't. So this is basically functionally equivalent to like an always on call with Facebook. Think about it.
Right.
Facebook is listening to you,
Yeah.
or Meta is listening to you. It's always on call. I'm going to tell you the gravity behind it, or the difficulty behind it. So your average voice over internet call takes something like 24 kilobytes per second, one way, which amounts to about 3 kilobytes of data per second. So assume you've got your phone on half the day, right? So maybe 12 hours a day. That's about 130 MBs, so megabits per day per user. So there are around 150 million daily active users in the US. So that's about 20 petabytes per day just in the US. So that's a lot of data, and you can't, record that and keep that. Maybe you can in the future, but that's a lot. So that's the technical argument against this, the gravity of it, or do they have a system where they can pick and choose which ones, keywords they match to the voice print?
So actually, what Google and Siri is right now doing is they are not apparently storing everything that we speak of. They are storing the keywords. But then, what you mentioned here about what Meta is going to do, I think that's the next step. They're taking the next step because they might be storing everything. So actually, that's, I don't know if to call it concerning, but also cool. And early also something that came back to me. I was thinking as marketers, it's all about how we coin certain things, right? How we talk about certain things. So we like to be in touch with the latest technology, be up to date and all of that, use cool tech. But then as soon as we hear words like data privacy, privacy is something that triggers us, right? So I guess that those are the words that don't come out a lot, but then it's being overshadowed by words like new voice assistants is there to help you and so on. So I guess that's how people don't really think about it.
Yeah.
And things like this, these conversations don't happen much. So that's why people aren't triggered. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and like talking about voice assistants, so the University of Washington and Chicago Central have released a report which claims that Amazon is actually listening to us. And they do target us with interest-based ads based on like what we request to Alexa. So that's, I think, one of the first brands or rather like services that have come out and like claim that they do actually listen to us. So I think as marketers, yes, like we would love data, right? Like it will definitely help us do our job better and like satisfy our client needs. But then, like you said, I think the world is moving forward. There are new innovations coming into place, AI and so on. So I think those things, the sensitive words rather, are being like covered with new words.
Definitely.
Like yeah,
And we don't have a say, right? Actually, think about it.
actually,
If we say no, we switch off Siri, Google, and
Yeah.
all of that.
it's like you'll be in one place and the world will be
Yeah,
moving
you'll have this
forward.
FOMO. You might like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are and what your risk level and is. For example, if it's an enterprise that's dealing with cybersecurity, this might be a bigger topic for them. But individually also, I feel like people are more cognizant of this right now. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but the whole Apple versus Meta, the issue they had where they stopped Meta from tracking Apple users. Remember when we were trying to target
Yes.
using Facebook for Apple users, all of a sudden we saw a dip, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Oh
from
my
a
God.
remember
Yeah.
and then financially I think that was like a $10 billion loss for Meta.
Wow.
But Apple is thinking about it. They were quite smart. I think they had their own I think it was called the ATT iPhone privacy features. And then there was this thing called the identifier for advertisers, IDFA. So it's like a unique code that shows when people are seeing an ad on Facebook and things like that. So they stopped that for Meta, and there was a huge topic about it. On the flip side, right, if you think of a positive thing about this, do you guys use Shazam?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's an app that helps you get the name of a particular song.
How do you use the app?
You just press on it and it listens to the song.
Right.
Yeah.
So same concept,
Yeah.
right? You use Shazam. Say for example, you're at a party or like a rave. You want to know who the artist
Yeah.
is and what the song is. You just put it up, and then you know who it is. So, but apparently that's also like a little voice print / song queue. So they have a massive database of song queues, and then they kind of match that. But again, similar type of thing, but that's proactively you wanting somebody to do that. So that's why I'm also not sure why people are so much into saying that this is bad, because if you think about it, people do search when you're driving, for example. You might ask Siri, hey Siri, something,
Yeah.
and same with Alexa. So if you are proactively doing that prompt, then and I think around 30 to 35% of global searches are now voice-based searches.
Actually, yeah.
Right.
This because actually a month ago I did a session to my team. It's about how people don't use voice for SEO as much as they should, because that's where this whole convenience comes to what Sal said. If you can be driving, but you don't want to text anymore. You want to like talk to your phone. You want your phone to be your buddy, right? And that's where this whole long tail keyword, the importance or the need for that comes. And if we are to move towards that, I guess things like this shouldn't be a concern. So it connects back to what Sal said actually. It depends on where we are, what we want to do. But in our context as marketers, I guess it's beneficial for us. It will help us with our clients as well, allowing our clients
And
to
I
get
think
what
what's
they need.
happening is like there is like a digital ID being created for you, right?
Yeah.
With or without you knowing.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I think in the future, obviously there's a digital ID project going on here as well, together with India, where you will be known. There are pros to it also. I mean, for example, travel, passports will go away. I know we are going on a tangent here. We're not talking about the voice side of things. What's interesting is like it will help people to know you better. Of course, that means they can track you better as well. which can be good and bad.
Mhm.
Actually, talking about tracking, there was an interesting story that I saw. So you know about Bitcoin, right? So apparently, so we still don't know who exactly invented Bitcoin, but the name that pops out is a guy called Satoshi,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah,
obviously
I know
a
this guy, yeah.
Japanese name. Apparently, the FBI wanted to know where Satoshi was, who he was. There were some initial writings, like he had done a blog or I don't know, something like that, but they could never trace this guy back. And to this date, nobody knows who he is. Even the FBI is not saying who he is and whatever, or she is.
Okay.
But they use something quite interesting. It's called stylometry. So it's why I'm talking about this is I think it's a little bit similar to what I spoke about earlier about the digital ID.
Mhm.
So the way you write something, the way Savin writes versus Rachita writes versus me.
Yeah.
Of course, now everybody uses ChatGPT to get their content done, which is the way ChatGPT writes. But you have a unique way of writing, not just the handwriting, but the way you write. So apparently, they traced Satoshi back through a blog he had done long time ago,
Oh my God. Okay.
and
wow.
traced it back to a discussion forum or something. That's what they say. Conspiracy
Okay.
theory again,
Right.
but could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way this data will be used or misused.
Mhm.
So that's common to everything. So I don't know whether we can use that, but like you said earlier, I think as marketers, it's important for us to understand users better. We are always trying to dig deeper into how users are, what they do, what are their intentions. So these will be, I think, interesting noise signals for marketers, especially voice search is going up. People are talking to virtual assistants a lot more. People are more lonelier than before. So the assistant concept will come in, especially with AI. So I don't think this can be stopped. And if you look at the patents that are being filed right now, it's going to be legalized soon. So I think it's about, my personal opinion is it's about how you use the data and how you govern it. I think governance is important, whether it's voice data or any other data form. Yeah. Any other thoughts before we wind up?
Well, I mean, yeah, same thoughts, because it's like we're trying to move against the river. If we are trying to stop this, we can't. And for us as marketers, we're always trying to create a certain cohort segment before we create strategy for our clients. So I guess this definitely helps, and we need to keep moving forward, right? And these conversations, I guess, even the big boys are trying to keep it low, right?
That's true.
That's why you don't see much data, but
Yeah.
if you dig in, you see a lot of data, even where they've really come out and accepted the fact that the devices are listening to us. So
Yeah.
I guess we can't stop this.
Yeah, I think that's true. Because like a lot of these companies, they are moving forward with AI coming into place and so on. So it's like either you adapt to it or you will be left behind. I think as marketers, properly position our target, to our target audience. But yeah, I think it's like more or less like you shouldn't really think too much about it. But then I guess this is also subjective. Like even if, since I am from a marketing background, yes, I mean I guess I'm more or less okay with it.
Yeah.
But I guess someone from legal background would be like, no way, like this is not something I'm okay
100%.
with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's again subjective from person to person.
You think somebody's picked up on Yala yet?
Oh, shall we
we
check?
Yeah, I think we should check.
Oh my God.
Yeah, why not? TikTok, I think you might have to have about 10 scrolls before you get something. Maybe let's see.
It's good
IG,
to check.
I
I'm
can
excited.
see Shan also checking his phone. Haven't seen anything yet. Maybe on Facebook about Yala. I got a Keels ad.
Oh.
But I guess it'll definitely, I mean, it might take time to kick in as well,
Yeah.
because I remember all of these ads that we see, like, we talk about it, maybe the next day you see it, right?
Mhm.
And then you feel like, wait, hold on, I didn't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on TikTok also.
Okay, I saw one travel from Gulf Air. But
Oh, same. But
Gulf Air?
yeah, Gulf Air.
maybe they picked up on travel. Definitely did.
Probably,
Okay, yeah, because we were talking about travel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's got the same one as well.
Because I don't usually
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, I don't see Gulf ads. This is the first time I'm
Yeah.
seeing this. There we go.
Yeah, so there is something about it. Ooh, conspiracy. I want to check. Well, the only wildlife I'm seeing on TikTok is a cat. What are you seeing? Office chairs. Oh my god.
there we
Oh,
go.
Really?
Did you like search about it recently? No.
He's the last person to search about office chairs, I think. Crazy, right?
This is
You should show that to the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like put it. Yeah. Put a picture of it
Yeah.
on the back or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting.
Maybe that is trying to figure out why I'm scrolling so much.
Yeah. Too many keywords.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Interesting
Alright.
chat.
Alright.
Thanks for having us, sir.
Thank you.
Cool. We will have a chat about something soon later.
Alright. So stay tuned for our next podcast session.
So formal. Like, stay tuned.
Bye, guys.
Alright.